but you will respect me. You know why? Cause I'm a boss.
Rule number 1, thou shalt not show up late for or miss important meetings.
You did say 10 o'clock, right?
Yeah. Do you know what this is about?
There's just a staff meeting on the memo. It's funny how he gets all over my ass if I'm a minute late, but then he makes us wait 15.
You were 2 minutes late, Nick.
Morning.
And I didn't think I had to punch a clock with you.
You don't.
That's all right. I'll just attribute this to your drinking problem.
As you can see in the video, the boss obviously shows up late to the meeting, and his employees find it very distracting and find it very unprofessional of him. And even as he shows up, he has no regard or cares for their opinions of him showing up late. Rule number 2, thou shalt not be uninformed about a problem commanding the group's attention.
What in the hell's diversity?
Well, I could be wrong, but I believe diversity is an old wooden ship that was used during the Civil War era.
Ron, I would be surprised if the affiliates were concerned about the lack of an old wooden ship, but nice try.
As you can see, Ron Burgundy, the news team leader, is completely unaware of what diversity is and the problem that the group is facing.
Rule number 3, thou shalt not manifest apathy or lack of interest by sluggish participation in group discussion.
You're all asked to bring an item that represented last season. Has everyone brought something and put it in the bin?
Yes, Coach.
Good. Henry, do the honors. Last year is history.
Those gloves helped me catch 300 passes in the last 3 seasons.
And yet they never snagged you a ring, now did they, Mr. Kent? Last year is a bad dream that just went up in smoke. This is a new team. The future is all about winning.
In the clip, you see a boss who's actually a new boss. He's a new head football coach for the team. He does a terrible job at being involved in the group discussion. He has the football players bring things that are special to them, important to them, have helped them in the career. Then he proceeds to set them on fire, and when they want to have a discussion about why those things were important and why that shouldn't have happened, he's very uninterested in having that conversation with them.
Rule number 4, thou shalt not attempt to dominate conversation during discussion.
Need it. I don't understand why it's so difficult to confirm an appointment.
I know, I'm so sorry, Miranda. I actually did confirm last night.
Details of your incompetence do not interest me. Who is that?
Nobody. Well, Human Resources sent her up about the new assistant job, and I was sort of pre-interviewing her, but she's hopeless and totally wrong.
Well, clearly, I'm going to have to do that myself, because the last 2 you sent me were completely inadequate, so send her in. That's all. Who are you?
My name is Andy Sachs. I recently graduated from Northwestern University.
And what are you doing here?
I came to New York to be a journalist, and basically it's this or Auto Universe.
So you don't read Runway?
No.
And before today, you had never heard of me?
No.
And you have no style or sense of fashion?
I think that depends on what you're...
No. That wasn't a question.
In the clip, when the boss enters the room, she talks over her employees and does not even allow them to speak to her. And at the end of the clip, she dismisses them. That is a very ineffective way to be a boss, because you're not working together with your employees. You're really just bossing them around.
Rule number 5, thou shalt not listen poorly.
A company
It's like an enormous clock.
is like an enormous Yes, precisely. It only works if all the little cogs mesh together. Now, a clock needs to be clean, well lubricated, and wound tight. The best clocks have jewel movements, cogs that fit, that cooperate by design. I'm being metaphorical, Bob. You know what I mean by cooperative cogs? Bob? Look at me when I'm talking to you, Par!
That man out there, he needs help.
Do not change the subject, Bob. We're discussing your attitude.
He is getting mugged.
Well, let's hope we don't cover him.
I'll be right back.
Stop right now, or you're fired! Close the door. get over here now. I'm not happy, Bob. Not happy.
He got away.
Good thing, too. You were this close to losing your...
Ron, are you paying attention?
Nope.
As you can see in the first example, the boss does a terrible job at listening. He's so busy berating his employee that when the employee wants to bring something up that is important to him, the boss doesn't want to hear it. He just talks over the employee and does a terrible job at listening to him. And if that's too hard of an example, then the second example, they ask Ron if he's listening and he simply says no.
Rule number 6, thou shalt not be rigid and inflexible when expressing viewpoints.
Lord Vader, the fleet has moved out of light speed and we're preparing to...
You have failed me for the last time, Admiral. Captain Piet.
Yes, my lord.
Make ready to land our troops beyond their energy field and deploy the fleet so that nothing gets off the system. You are in command now, Admiral Piet.
Thank you, Lord Vader.
As you can see from this video, Darth Vader is really rigid and inflexible. When his employee tells him that he messed up, he goes as far as to killing him and not even listening to what he had to say. So that's a perfect example of being completely rigid and inflexible in the workplace.
Rule number 7, thou shalt not bully group members.
Mr. Harkin, the only reason I took one because I thought you were going to have one, so...
You took one because you thought I was going to have one? Is that something you think a senior VP would do?
I was just trying to be polite.
So what? If I was going to put my balls in honey and shaved coconut, you'd do that too?
I would not.
Sure?
Yeah.
Because I've got some coconut.
Nick, it's 18-year-old scotch. You don't really expect me to pour it back into the bottle, do you?
I've been in that position for 8 years now. Why would I stay here after being treated like this?
Well, because I'd make sure that nobody in the industry would ever hire you again.
Bullshit.
No, because they're going to want my letter of recommendation, right? So I'm perfectly willing to write that you are an insubordinate, dishonest drunk.
In this clip, the boss peer pressures and bullies his employee to drink with him against his will. Then later, the boss blackmails that same employee into working excess hours. This is an ineffective way to be a boss because now your employees do not respect you, they fear you.
Rule number 8, thou shalt not use abusive and offensive language.
Cole, where's Mr. fucking Peter Cole's office? Cole, where the fuck is Peter Cole's office? Right here? James Cameron is directing Aquaman?
That's great. That's awesome.
That's awesome, huh? You didn't think to bring it up in the fucking staff meeting? An email?
No,
a yellow fucking sticky something?
I didn't know I was supposed to know that kind of stuff.
Well, what is it you're supposed to know, do you think, huh? What the fuck do we pay you for? To get your agency card laminated so you can go to shelter and try to fuck Misha Barton?
I didn't think.
Let me tell you something. You don't have to say anything. You know why? Because you pick up all your stuff because you're motherfucking fired.
What happened?
I don't know. I was dropping off Peter's mail and then Mr. Gold fired me. My life is over.
As you can see, the boss shows up completely agitated and has no regard for proper workplace behavior and just curses out his employee without even thinking about, if it's the right guy or not. So that's a perfect example of how not to react in a situation and how not to approach an employee who's done something wrong.
'Cause I'm a boss.